Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois, and this is going to be my review for episode 8 for this season. This is the official halfway point of the season, and this episode is otherwise entitled Holding the Wrench. Now, of course, spoiler alert if you've not watched the episode, because we're going to be diving into everything, and there's a few different reveals, and as well as setup and question marks, if you want to call them, just around this episode. So yeah, if you've not watched it, go away. If you have watched it, let me know your opinions in the comments section down below. What do you think of this episode? Do you think it was a good follow-up to last week's big reveal and everything like that? And just let me know if your general thoughts and opinions, and maybe even theories that might go along with some stuff I say in this video. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you enjoy the episode and everything like that, and just want to show you support, why not drop a like on the video to do all of that? So last episode, really the big thing is the revelation that Luthor, or Captain Luthor, is actually John Henry Irons, aka Steel. Now, he is on both Earth. There was this confusion because it's like a one-line thing, I think, in last episode, where they say that like the DNA in the suit recognizes everyone as like Captain Luthor. But he is John Henry Irons from both Earths. It's not different or anything like that. But yeah, so he is Steel from the comics, and his wife, who is Lois Lane on his Earth, which we knew before, is slain by evil Superman, heat vision and all. And we leave with him on his, commencement of his fight against that evil Superman in the exosuit, saying goodbye to his daughter Natalie beforehand. Now, in this episode, there is no more Natalie in regards to us seeing like new scenes with her. She's in the episode, but I don't see new scenes of her. So I do wonder in a future episode whether we see what happens to her after that she's left in the bunker. I'm very curious, and also just even the fight stuff, because we'll touch on it, but it's not fully explored, that fight with Superman and how it ends, because obviously we're only halfway through the season, and I think we'll learn more revelations as we move into the closer to the end of the season. But the first thing I do want to mention about this episode is we do start off, or roughly start off, with Lois meeting with the wife of one of her father's friends from like military academy or military school, whatever it was, for some consultation and counseling. But we will come back to that later on. I thought it was smart that they sort of sprinkled this throughout the episode until they addressed with it, because it made you wondering who they were talking about necessarily. But yeah, we'll come back to that. But we do have the Kent family just dealing with the fallout from last episode. And one of the big emphasis on this episode is definitely Jonathan. Like, I think this was a big Jonathan episode, because we had a lot of Jordan, maybe not Jordan specific episodes, but if you're gonna put the two sons there and go which one got the more focus, Jordan's has had much more, and we've sort of developed Jordan a good amount. So I think Jonathan, starting with this episode, we're going to see more of him maybe, which I think is a good thing to do, because we don't know where he's going to develop and stuff like that, in regards to physically, as a child of Superman. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. But we just have them in fixing the truck, after they rammed John Henry Irons last episode, fixing it with superpowers. That's one of my favorite things about being on the Kent farm. They're just doing stuff with superpowers, whether it's running really fast, lifting, things that weigh a ton with like one finger. I just find it really cool to look at. But speaking of Jonathan, we do have Lois and Jonathan inspecting the camper van of John Henry Irons. So Lois brings Jonathan along, which is like a sort of like, this is the seed being planted, for everything that happens in this episode. Now, I'm just going to refer to John Henry Irons as John from now on for the most part. Just makes it easier. But the camper van recognizes Lois as a registered user, because obviously, Lois was his wife on that other Earth, which allows them to learn more about John. Now, Lois discusses the multiverse with Jonathan. It's very important to remember, I think this is the first time the multiverse has been overly referenced, especially this season, but even just after a few episodes after Crisis, they sort of stopped even talking about it, but Superman and Lois is bringing it back in, which makes sense. So Jonathan learns of the multiverse, and obviously it's going to pique his curiosity levels going forward. But this is the point where it reveals to them that Lois was married to John on his Earth. Now, obviously Lois didn't know this at this point, but it makes sense to her, especially why he seeked her out. We also see there are very, very similar, if not exact, events from that Earth done by the evil Superman that our Superman has done as well. I think the example that they used was saving the bridge in China. It's pretty much the exact same, except he's got the black suit. Now, that's very interesting. He always had the black suit when he was doing that stuff in that other Earth. It wasn't like he wore the red and blue and then changed to black. The black was always a thing on his Earth, which you think would be a bit of a difference, and I wonder if they'll explain why he wore the black suit, not red and blue. maybe he's from a different country. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and find out. But obviously, he's doing all these events just before he goes off the rails and starts killing people. So you can see where, John was coming from, like a ticking time clock going down. Okay, well, when's he going to, break bad? And now Superman himself is sort of concerned, well, when do I break bad? Or when did he break bad specifically? Like, when's my alarm going to go off? Now, speaking of John and Superman, we do have those two meeting at the DOD. And he does bring up the fact that his Earth's John died. The Earth Prime John Henry Irons is dead. So where are you from? And, what happened to you? And we get to see some of the fight with evil Superman where it does appear. Now, it's hard to tell 100%, but it looked like it. And I'm definitely thinking this is what they're teasing. And also we knew that this, John, or at the time Captain Luthor, was sort of related to Crisis. But it appears we see him flying towards the antimatter wave from Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, it makes you wonder what his plan was. Did he know that the antimatter wave was coming? Did he figure out a way to jump Earths? Was he going to dump this Superman on another Earth and Crisis happened? And because of like the way it worked, maybe he was able to jump to Earth Prime just as Crisis was happening, but the evil Superman was wiped out. I'm not too sure. As I said, we're only halfway through this season exactly, so we still got 7 episodes to go where they can explain everything, and I think they will, because they would have just shown us an entire fight, but they sort of like cut it off at a specific point. They started it at a specific point, so I think we'll see more of that as we head into the back half. Now, Lana's new role with Morgan Edge is making her some connections and opening the doors for certain people. In this episode in particular, Sarah, who's like entering back into like the theater and performance life, which she hasn't done for a while, which has her a bit nervous, which does lead to some like bonding time with her father Kyle and just boosting her confidence, which was nice to see. But Lana's new role is also causing some divide with Leslie La telling Kyle that they were actually disappointed he turned down the role at Edge Corp, when he didn't. Now, Lana tells him and has to open up that Morgan just said that he didn't think Kyle was a leader, which leads Kyle down a bad path, which we'll get to later on. Now, one of the big, just whoa moments in this episode was when Jonathan sneaks into John's camper van by himself, which I think we all knew was a bit of a risky thing, and learns a few things, like evil Superman kills Lois, even seeing the news broadcast and all of that like we saw last episode. But he also comes across the weapons that John has, which really isn't like overly explored, so I wonder if we'll see that later in the season. But Jonathan does trigger the alarm system within the van and isn't registered to be in that van. So that's a big uh-oh moment, and Jonathan, you better run. But unfortunately, he's locked in. Lois is not able to stop it, which is another thing that leads into this episode. They did a really good job building this episode up with specific moments and just everything like that to the eventual stuff that happens later in the episode. So it was really well done. But anyway, Lois is not able to stop it, but she's able to get through to Superman just in time to stop the insta-kill, I guess you'd call it, security system. Now, Lois and Clark, and mainly Lois, are not happy, and Jordan just feels like Jonathan just feels overly vulnerable, from the entire situation, which I think we can understand. We have Jordan with these powers, his dad's Superman, and he's just there going, oh, well, what can I do? Like, he was hopeless in that situation, and Lois is sort of in that same boat because she couldn't do anything either. Which leads into Lois opening up to that counselor that we met earlier in the episode right at the beginning, and we find out that she's talking about Jonathan, and she talks about her just feeling powerless in the whole Jonathan situation, as well as her past trauma, which includes a miscarriage, which isn't just a throwaway thing. We actually learned that it was a girl, and they had a name planned out, that name being named after, I think it was Lois's grandmother, which is Natalie. Now, Natalie wasn't said a lot last episode, but Natalie, as it was revealed earlier on in the van stuff, is actually the name of John and Lois's daughter from the other Earth. Now, Lois blames the miscarriage on herself, as well as Jonathan being in the position he was, which is very, parallel to what's going on with John Henry Irons. And I thought they did a really good job, having Lois realize that, having all this, weight on top of her and all this burden and stuff, it's not her fault. Like, she didn't put Jonathan in the van. Sure, Jonathan was with her, but if she didn't say, Jonathan, go to the van by yourself. Like, Jonathan could have done that by himself, even if Lois hadn't invited him that initial first time and everything like that. So, and the miscarriage stuff, I mean, as they say, it's all like genetics and stuff like that. It's not her fault unless she was, well, we don't have to say it, but yeah, like, it's not her fault. So they did this was probably the best Lois episode so far, and I think they nailed it. I think Bitsy Tulloch with her acting was just, whoa, I think it was like superb. Now, in regards to the Sarah stuff, Jordan, even though he's not a big player in this episode, does have some shining moments, and he comes in clutch at Sarah's audition / performance thingamajig when Kyle doesn't show up. And Jordan plays the piano for Sarah. He revealed earlier they did some piano stuff when he was younger, recitals, but when his anxiety got, too much, he sort of had to drop it. But Sarah is just over getting disappointed by Kyle, and we see that Kyle has resorted back to drinking, which I think is going to be a big thing heading into the back half of the season. We saw like Kyle, Kyle sort of went up, and I think we're all sort of starting to maybe not overly like Kyle. I was liking Kyle, but at least respect him for what he was doing. But now he's gone back to the drinking. Because his opportunity is closed, and he's realized that this person he was like supporting, like, yeah, Morgan Edge, let's build up Smallville, really just sees nothing in him, which would be overly disappointing. Like, he looks up to Morgan Edge, and Morgan Edge just pretty much just spat on him. So Kyle's sort of like ground zero, if you want to call it. Now, obviously, we did have Superman meeting John Henry Irons at the DoD, but now we have General Lane going in to question John afterwards to actually get through to him, and John uses the backing that his doppelganger, not John uses it, but General Lane uses the backing that his doppelganger from another Earth was friends with John, and John is just hell-bent on convincing General Lane that Superman needs to be taken down. However, things sort of take a turn for the worse, for John at least, when he is isolated with Lieutenant Rossetti, who we had met in previous episodes. He was actually the one that sort of revealed to Lois last episode that it was that, the finger or the handprint, the fingerprints were of John Henry Irons, but he's actually affected by X-kryptonites. This makes you wonder, are these people being specifically targeted? Like, he works for the DoD, he's got some high clearance, he's attached to this, we have to get him. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the future episodes as well, because we do have that group that Morgan is building up, so let's see where that goes. But Rossetti takes John to Project 7734, like in that little sector of that room, which Superman is extremely vulnerable to due to the experimental kryptonite weapons within there. Now, the Rossetti vs. Superman fight in 7734, was really good. He even saved John throughout it all, which sort of, comes back later on. Now, Rossetti is actually using a mask in order to not feel the effects of the kryptonite gas, which I thought was pretty smart. I was like, hey, Superman, why don't you carry a mask? Can you put a pocket on the suit, put like some sort of gas mask in there? I mean, I think your suit's nanotech mask. Just an idea. I don't know. We'll send it out to someone who can make you a suit. I'm not too sure. Just put it out there. But Rossetti gets the upper hand, but is actually killed by John with a kryptonite-infused, like, spear sort of thing, which is a familiar weapon to John from his Earth. Now, Lois arrives just in time because John's like, hey, I want some Superman shish kebab. But luckily he does not do that. That's actually due to Lois passing on some of the advice she received through her counseling and realizing what was happening with John. And I know people are going to say, oh, this is just like The Flash when it talks down the villains. It's the complete opposite, because the show actually built up to it, and we see the reasoning as to why it's done and why John would accept that as well. They explain it. Like, there's about 10 minutes worth of build up, if not relation, to this moment. So if you complain about it, pay attention, please. But anyway, this actually leads to Superman revealing to General Lane what's going on with the X-Kryptonians and Morgan Edge and everything like that, and that John is also on the right track with it all, which is what has Superman concerned along with others. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes and whether there is actually some deviation with our Superman as to that potential road. Let's hope it doesn't go too far, but maybe there's a specific moment where Superman takes a different path, which helps him be normal Superman, not evil. Now, Lois opens up to Jonathan about her miscarriage, revealing the plan for Natalie and everything like that, and just opening up Jonathan's eyes to why Lois, reacted the way that she did. And it's quite emotional. I'm sure most people had an experience like that with their mum or dad or just a loved one, just opening up like that. I can remember just back to a specific moment with my mum, which had me tear up a bit due to that scene. I was like, oh, that reminds me of that. Like, obviously not that, exact situation, but just that sort of moment of opening up. Now, in regards to John, he is released and he's back with his beloved camper van, and Superman meets with him and they have like a mini truce. Will that truce last? Let's wait and see. But John does have a nice moment with Lois, and we see him actually leave the Captain Luthor persona behind him, deleted off the sort of AI system, and he drives off. But where? That little AI system isn't, telling him where to go or controlling anything. He's just sort of going to drive for a bit. And it makes me wonder whether he will come back as a fully fledged Steel, like from the comics. Maybe not looking exactly like it, but like he maybe might not be like a steel Superman, but like in that, like using the kinetic hammer and everything like that. I wonder if he'll come back like that, because I don't think that's the last we've seen of him, because I just feel like we still have to learn more about how he came to our Earth and everything like that. So yeah, I'm excited to see when he shows up again and how he shows up again as well, and what he looks like potentially. But yeah, overall this episode was great. I thought it was a great episode for Lois, great episode for Jonathan, great episode for John. They sort of nailed it with those three characters, and still gave Jordan and Superman, and even General Lane, and even Lana and Kyle and Sarah. They balance, probably one of the best balanced episodes of this season, because a lot of characters got some focus, which I thought was great. And it sort of flew by, but there was still a lot in here. So they nailed this episode, in my opinion. It's probably one of my favorites from this season. I'd probably say top 4 or top 3. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written and everything like that. So love this episode, and I can't wait to see what they do with John's character going forward, as well as a few of these other characters as well. But yeah, they nailed it. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on this. What did you love? What did you hate? If there was anything, just let me know your general thoughts, theories, opinions, all that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. And goodbye.